On today's solo Sunday news, Sting makes his shock AEW return at WrestleDream. A major heel turn takes place at WrestleDream. Mercedes becomes 11 belts Mone. And there's new details on Jacob Fatu's WWE absence. Hello and welcome to What Culture Wrestling. Myself, Andrew Pollard, the solo Sunday news. I hope you're well. I hope you're good. And I hope your weekend is going as well as possible. For me, well, life in the championship continues to be pretty darn tough. While I also stayed up last night to watch one of the most bizarre boxing events I've ever seen. But also last night was AEW WrestleDream, a show that, I was not staying up to watch at 1 a.m, but more, I got up about 4:30 a.m. to watch before work. Which always means plenty of caffeine on these pay-per-view weekends. The older I get, the more that caffeine becomes my best friend. Anyways, WrestleDream. And in the main event, which was Jon Moxley and Darby Allin, rather than Hangman versus Samoa Joe. But in the main event, the big I Quit match, it was Darby Allin getting the win with a little bit of help from the returning Sting. Yes, the icon. Oh, there's my really bad Stinger cry thing. To be honest, this was a match that, I don't know, I was kind of dreading. We can all like what we like, but for me, some of the Moxley stuff goes a little too far for my own personal pro wrestling taste, and that is fine. If you dig it, hey, more power to you. Enjoy what you enjoy. Wrestling is all about different flavors, but for me, that's a flavor I tend to stay clear of. But then again, I will happily watch, Tatanka versus Damien Demento in a 6-minute TV match from 1993. Again, enjoy what you enjoy, like what you like. It's all good, man. But yes, I was dreading Moxley and Darby just because of what they've done before, where the bar had been raised to, and just how they were going to top all of that. What crazy stuff were we going to see? And in terms of topping that, yeah, we nearly got live drowning on television. Well, I guess on pay-per-view is the correct term for that. As Jon Moxley tried to drown Darby Allin in a fish tank, which, I don't know, threw me off when people referred to it as an aquarium, which is very minute detail, nerdy stuff for me. But for me, I think aquarium, I think like the giant buildings that have a bunch of fish tanks in them. But then I Googled it, and an aquarium is a vivarium of any size, having at least one transparent side in which aquatic plants or animals are kept and displayed. So I guess I'm wrong. But still, fish tank. Moxley tried to drown Darby Allin in a fish tank. I don't know how a guy could say the words "I quit" if they've, drowned, but whatever. Logic, we'll leave that to one side. Either way, the lights went off. Tony Schiavone, my illegitimate dad, of course, but Tony said, "This isn't good. This absolutely isn't good," which was pretty much what I was thinking about this match. I joke. But when the lights came back on, Sting was in the ring. Oh, Grandpa Steve. Oh, man, I love this current Sting look. You see him pop up at conventions, and he's let his hair naturally go grey, white, whatever. Same with the facial hair, now a little more grown out with the face paint over the top. Yeah, it's a long time Stinger. Since the early Surfer days, I am always here for some Sting, man. Anyway, Sting is in the ring with a bat, smashes the fish tank, the aquarium, takes out Pac and Claudio Castagnoli, carries Marina Shafir to the back, allowing Darby to hit Moxley with the bat, hit a Scorpion Death drop, a coffin drop, then makes Moxley say "I quit" in a Scorpion Death lock, while Moxley had the AEW flag around him as well. And this, I believe, this is a first Sting appearance, I believe, since Revolution in March 2024, his retirement match. I don't remember if he's popped up since then. He may have done, and I may have forgot, because it's early today, and like I said, highly caffeinated. But obviously, teamed with Darby against the Young Bucks at Revolution in his retirement match, which, again, a little much for me, some of that, but hey, whatever. So now you look at it, and it's like, what is next for Darby Allin? What is next for Jon Moxley? What is next for the Death Riders? I have been desperate for months to see the Death Riders come to an end, but obviously that's not going to happen. We recently added Daniel Garcia to the ranks. As for Darby, does he start his ascension, no pun intended, towards the world title now? Could we get to Darby and Hangman at some point? On that point, WrestleDream also saw the shocking heel turn of the Ops. But you know what's just as shocking? Just as shocking is the fantastic deal we've got on right now for NordVPN. Yes, up to 76% off, an additional 3 months free, a 30-day money-back guarantee, allowing you to stream whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want. Yes, NordVPN, the best VPN in the game right now. But back to the Ops and back to WrestleDream. Now, as expected, Hangman Adam Page successfully retained the AEW World title against Samoa Joe. I love me some Samoa Joe, another of my all-time favorites, someone I've had the pleasure of interviewing even. Although, strangely, that wasn't for wrestling, that was for his role as King Shark in the Suicide Squad Killer Justice League game, though obviously we talked a little bit about wrestling because, hey, that game, oof, The story itself, very decent. The performance is very decent, but just the grind, the slog, the repetitiveness. Such a shame. Anyway, the point I was trying to get to is I love me some Samoa Joe, but realistically, I don't think anybody expected him to be beating Hangman here. And in the end, it took 3 buckshot lariats to put Samoa Joe down. Adam Page then obviously retaining his gold. Now, going into this, the build, I mean, what little build there was for this one, it was partly due to Hangman having never beaten Samoa Joe, and so with that rectified, Joe showed some respect for Hanger post-match, sharing an embrace, I guess you could say giving his endorsement to Hangman Adam Page. Only, Joe then clotheslined Hangman, and we had Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Shibata all putting a beating on Hangman. Putting the boots in, there was a muscle buster, and Samoa Joe kind of waved the AEW World title in Page's face. So we are seemingly not done with this rivalry. But more than that, the Ops have turned heel. I mean, even more than that, Katsuyori Shibata has turned heel, which is quite a sentence here in 2025. Yeah, heel Shibata. But yes, expect more Samoa Joe and Hangman goodness in the coming weeks and months. And you know what? As much as I'm thinking MJF is the one to take the world title from Page eventually, and as much as I want to see Darby in that title picture too, I would totally be fine with giving Samoa Joe a second run as the AEW World Champ. Do I think it'll happen? Nah, but I'd be all for it. For me, it's MJF that beats Hangman, and then maybe Darby beats MJF down the line. But you know who's not getting beat these days? Mercedes Mone, or should I say 11 belts Mone. Yes, we knew ahead of time that Mercedes were going to be appearing at WrestleDream in some capacity. That was announced on Wednesday on Dynamite. Then it was announced over the weekend that she'd be having kind of an open challenge of sorts. That's easy for me to say on a Sunday morning full of coffee. And that open challenge would be where she'd defend her TBS title against another champion from somewhere. And that brought out Mina Shirakawa, the interim Ring of Honor Women's TV Champion. Now, wouldn't you know it, but Mercedes notched up another win, adding that ROH TV title to her collection, an 11th title. Yes, so for those wondering, the CEO is now the deep breath AEW TBS champion, the Women's Owen Hart Cup champion, the CMLL champion, the Rev Pro Undisputed British Women's champion, which also includes the Queen of Southside championship, the EWA Women's champion, the Primetime Wrestling Women's champion, the Bestia Women's champion, the Discovery Wrestling Scottish Women's champion, the Body Slam Women's champion. I've run out of hands here. Am I already up to 10, 11? I've lost counting. And then there's obviously the interim Ring of Honor Women's TV champion. And on top of that, by tomorrow, Mercedes will likely be 12 belts Mone as she faces Teenage Jodie Threat tonight in Winnipeg for the Winnipeg Pro Wrestling Women's Championship. And hey, Mercedes has also called out AEW Women's Champion Chris Statlander now at WrestleDream. And the two will go at it at Full Gear next month, November the 22nd, I believe that is. So she's currently 11 belts Mone, will be 12 belts Mone later tonight, and could become 13 belts Mone at Full Gear. And that's if Mercedes doesn't win any more belts between now and Full Gear. Now, this is, for me, it's interesting to see the downward spiral of Mercedes when that starts to happen, as in to see what happens when she starts to lose those belts. And maybe that spiral starts with losing to Stat at Full Gear. Or maybe Stat's title reign is a fairly short one and Mercedes gets the AEW Women's title. But yeah, the more titles you have, the more titles you eventually have to lose. Although, hey, maybe Mercedes just vacates them all, which would kind of be the ultimate FU to those other promotions. Like, I'm just going to come in, I'm going to take your titles hostage, I'm going to beat your champions, and then I'm just not really going to do any favors back and just go, well, here's your titles back. But we'll see. Either way, 11 belts Mone is here this afternoon, and I fully expect 12 belts Mone to be crowned in Winnipeg later today. Now, switching gears for our final story today, and switching gears to All Gas, No Breaks, and yes, WWE's Jacob Fatu. Now, last week, I think it was Friday, maybe possibly Thursday, but there was a report from bodyslam.net that Fatu was set for a lengthy spell on the sidelines, dealing with an issue that would keep him out of action well into 2026 was the phrasing. And when you hear well into 2026, you think maybe he misses the first half of the year, possibly. Maybe he gets back in time for that like post-WrestleMania buzz, or maybe it's even longer, who knows. And at the time, it was reported that, I forgot the exact phrasing, but it was something like a non-wrestling related injury. Something like that was the description for it. But now it appears that Fatu hopefully won't be missing too much time from the ring. Fightful Select has an update that notes that the Samoan werewolf is dealing with a dental issue, that would tie in with that non-wrestling related issue. And Fatu is telling people backstage that he'll be gone for at least a month. Now, A month is obviously far better than well into 2026. I mean, heck, 2 months is better than that, which would realistically rule Fatu out for the rest of the year. Either way, hopefully those well into 2026 reports were a little premature, and hopefully it is more like a month or two. As Fatu, I mean, he was getting a pretty decent push lately, rubbing shoulders with WWE champion Cody Rhodes in backstage segments, feuding with Drew McIntyre to earn a shot at that WWE title. And for those who maybe missed it, Friday's SmackDown just gone, that did see Jacob Fatu written off TV. Attack backstage before his scheduled match with Big Drew, with it kind of like a mystery as to who left Fatu laying. McIntyre said it wasn't him, and I mean, I just hope it wasn't Solo Sikoa and the MFTs. Hey, maybe WWE spins this out when Jacob gets back. Maybe it's like the whole who ran over Stone Cold stuff from back in the day, back in like, 2000, I guess, yeah, off the back of SummerSlam 1999. I mean, back then, I was adamant it was Billy Gunn, man. It had to be Mr. Ass, getting Billy up the card, a big main event rivalry with Austin. But also, how wild is it to be talking about Billy Gunn and the storyline from 99 into 2000? And here we are in 2025, and Billy Gunn is just still kicking all kinds of ass. The dude is just a total freak of nature. And I mean that as a total compliment. And also, I've been around him a couple of times over the years. Just a total beast, a giant of a man. And simply a really good dude too. Anyway, with that, be sure to check out the other excellent video that is floating around here somewhere. This has been WhatCulture Wrestling, the Solo Sunday News. Myself, Andrew Pollard. Be well, stay safe, and I will catch you next weekend.